Hey there, Hoops fans! How you doing? It's your boy Jonathan Macri with you for the first episode of NBA Takedown. I am here with two gentlemen who somehow, for some reason, maybe they could explain it to you, agreed to join me on this endeavor. Before I say anything else, I will just say I'm incredibly thankful for their leap of faith as we go about, talking about the NBA for however long we decide to do it. I'm going to start with the man immediately to my right on my screen, and that is Shawn with a W. Hello, sir. How are you?
I'm doing well, John. Thank you for having me be a part of this exciting endeavor, which have full faith and confidence that will go absolutely swimmingly because I'm me and you're you and Jeff is Jeff. So why wouldn't it?
No, I could think of no reasons why me being in charge of a podcast Andrew Claudio, shout out to Andrew and shout out to Mark Roskus, who has been such a massive help on this thing, getting this thing set up. But like I am currently, as of right now, steering the ship. Do you steer a ship? I think you steer a ship. What could go wrong with that? Who knows? Jeff, maybe you have an answer. Hello, Jeff.
There's nowhere to go but up. You're on the ground floor. If you go any lower, then it's game over. The game has just begun. So we here.
We are here. And so we have a very special guest joining us in a few moments. But before she gets here, I did want to take a minute, one, to thank everybody who has helped along the way to make this show possible. And it's too long of a list to name everybody. But also a little bit about, I think people know who we are. If you're tuning in, you probably know us from Knicks Film School. And that's where we talk about the Knicks. And I have done a lot of talking about the Knicks over the years. And yet here we are talking about the league at large. And which brings us to, okay, why the show? Why NBA Takedown? I mean, you're going to all find that out over the course of the time that we do this show. I think that's going to become pretty clear pretty quickly what we have in mind for this thing. But before I turn it over to these guys, I will just say that, like, and anyone who's watched me on post games knows this, I, over the years, have tended to run from the take cycle. It scares me. I'm afraid to even get near it. I don't want to be a part of it. I'm like, get this thing away from me. And then I finally reached the point where I'm like, why am I doing this? This is where we are. Why not just dive right in? And that's exactly what this show is going to be. What is it going to look like? How's it going to sound? How are we going to react to takes? What takes are we going to have on our own? That's the fun of the journey. But it's why I wanted to really do this, because, look, Knicks Film School, I'd like to think when we did it, it was a little bit of a different spin on things. And now here we are to put a little bit of a different spin on NBA coverage. Jeff, what say you, my friend? Any thoughts on that one?
Yeah, when you first brought it to me, I loved it because we're probably polar opposites, where I take the takes on head on.
Yep.
I'm from the old era of the internet, so none of that chatter and keyboard courage affects me. I don't hate the game. I embrace the game. So I do it with you two gentlemen and with a bevy of other people. I've been all around the NBA sphere and the cultural discussion sphere. So it's only a natural progression to me that we get to this point where no take is safe. Ours, yours, theirs, it doesn't matter. I'm putting it on the table and we're talking about it. So I like discussion. I like nuanced discussion too. And I think that's the X factor that we can add to this programming. You feel me?
I do feel you. Let's see that live producing. Thanks, Shawn. Shawn with a W. I have known you for a hot minute. I let's just say enjoy your relationship to the NBA at large. I don't know that you've ever said anything with like a second thought to what might happen if I say this thing out loud, which is a fascinating way to go about life coverage of anything. So yeah, you were definitely one of the first people I thought of for this thing. I'll just say that.
Well, thank you. And thank you for thinking that I do not self-edit myself and that the first thought that pops in my head goes onto the internet and it works every time. Because Lord knows I have drafted and redrafted some tweets in my day.
You? No. No, I don't believe it.
Now I don't I'm not the type of person that like drafts a tweet and then waits for the results, and depending on the results whether I tweet it or delete it. But yeah, I've workshopped some tweets in my day. To Jeff's point, I'm very similar. Like me and Jeff for the Twitter class of 2009, where Twitter was a different place, and we do not run from the smoke. And there are a lot of people out here that deserve the smoke. Some of them are doing it because they're trying to get traction. Some of them are doing it because they're trying to drive clicks, engagement. And some people are doing it because they actually think they know what they're talking about. And that's where we come in and say, no, you have no idea what you're talking about. But you have a platform of 1.5 million people. And with great power comes great responsibility, John. And the only way to make them uphold their responsibilities to hold them accountable. So that's what we are going to do.
That is exactly the goal. And I think accountability can be fun. I think we will have some laughs throughout the course of the season and beyond. And I'm excited to get started. So just so everybody knows off the top, this show is going to be 3 days a week. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. You could expect, if you want to watch it live on YouTube, the goal is to always go live at noon on YouTube on the NBA Takedown channel. And then it'll also be available in a podcast, which I'm sure a lot of people are listening to this in podcast form right now. So the goal is to just wherever you are, wherever you want to consume your content, that's where it is at. Both Shawn and Jeff are going to be joining me for, I would say, most of the shows. If there may be times where one of them cannot pop in which case there's going to be some other friends and familiar faces that will be joining me along the way. The first of which is coming up pretty soon. Someone that everybody is going to be very familiar with, and I'm going to look forward to picking her brain on a couple of things in particular. But before we get there, this is going to be our version. I'll just kind of lay the ground rules of what people are actually going to be hearing today of an over-under episodes. Now, I don't know how you guys feel, Jeff, but like when I know someone is doing an over-under episode, I kind of recoil a little bit because it's generally it's like the same format every time. And that's why I kind of wanted to do things a little bit differently, which is what we're going to do today. I will just say, do you like betting on over-unders out of curiosity?
No, I'm more of an in the moment better. I do put a future here or there, but as Shawn knows, as you know, and as a lot of fans know, things can change on a dime.
Yeah.
So those over-unders, depending on the bet, I think my more enticing are the least likely to happen or you need one event to occur for you to win your bet. And so you're just betting on that one event to occur. Shout out to Shawn, who put the bet last year, who placed the future for the Sixers to miss the playoffs prior to the season. He banked on the fact that they weren't going to be healthy. That was the event that he was betting on in order to see if it was going to happen, and it happened.
Can I get your crystal ball, Shawn? That was a bold one.
I mean, was it a crystal ball or was it a physician's annual exam report, right? Like, I mean, I'm not shitting on what Shawn did. I'm just saying, like, I didn't think that was gonna happen. So Shawn is more of the bold better when it comes to the over-unders than me, here and there, but not really. I'm not really a connoisseur of that.
Well, Shawn's a little bit of a hater, so that's why he's great at that.
I am. That I am. I am a hater. Like, and that's another thing about me being old. I don't mind being a hater. Like, you can't shame me. Like, you're a hater, and
no, you do it well. I would like to know the Sixers, like the Knicks won, like the team, the medical staff won like some kind of award last year, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Is there an opposite of that where if someone gets like the worst medical staff league? I would like to do those rankings. Maybe we'll do them at some point during this year. But Shawn or Jeff, you nailed it. It's like one thing that could like go really right, one thing that maybe could go really wrong, and that's what you're betting on. That's what we're actually going to do today. That's literally the show. So I think last thing before we move on to our guest, who I believe is joining us any moment. Shawn, when you do you like to like this is maybe a question I should ask about how you are at the roulette table. Do you like to spread your over under bets around, or are you just like, no, this is my one team or two teams, and I'm gonna live or die with this year?
So I actually don't bet a lot of over unders simply because usually it's like plus 110 or minus 110, right? And then you're basically giving a sports book an interest-free loan for 6 months, because obviously you're going to be betting, like, if you're trying to win $100 at minus 110, you're going to bet $110 on October 21st, and it sits there until April. So I try to find things with value. So for example, it wasn't that the Sixers bet, it wasn't that I thought they could make the playoffs. It's just that I said, to have that number at almost 10-1 for a team with that many injury risks, that doesn't make any sense. If it was like 3-1, I would have left it alone. But I was like, 10-1, like, if they have the season from hell, this is going to cash, and they have the season from hell.
Yeah, no, I'm down with it. I think, like, to borrow a Simmons term, I think identifying the handful of season from hell team, like the handful of potential season from hell teams before a year starts is always a good move. And like, some of them are obvious, but I know this is an NBA show and I don't want to get into a different sport, but the most fun seasons from hell teams are the ones that come out of left field. Shawn with a W. Do you have any Ravens paraphernalia there? No? Okay. Well, that's oh no, you do have something.
Of course, I got my little thing right here. And if you look over there, I'd like to remind people that Joe Flacco is elite, because he helped me win one of these. He's holding the Lombardi Trophy in his hand. Just so you know.
Nobody needs that. You know, that's its own special kind of shame that you had to have Joe Flacco win you a Super Bowl. No, but like, the Schadenfreude of it all, when you have a year from hell team that, like, again, saying the Sixers are going to have a year from hell this year, or the Pelicans are going to have a year from hell this year, or I'm trying to think, like, the Suns are going to have a year from hell this year. That's not fun. But, and again, to tease yet again what we're about to be doing, to say, like, I don't know, the team that's currently favored or with the highest over under win total in the East, to say that they're going to have a year from hell, that's fun. And like, you think it's never going to happen, but like, that's why you get the odds that you do. So I wonder how many of those that we are going to, like, how many presumed good East teams we're going to hit on and actually be able to come up with cogent arguments, which is going to be up to you guys, as to how they could possibly not do so great this year. Last thing before we move on, we're going to kind of get to this in a minute, but like, before we, like, we're all Knicks people here. Do you guys have any doubt as to our ability to be impartial judges and prognosticators when it comes to the basketball team that we know and love? Jeff?
No worse than every other person that covers the league, because everybody who covers the league has a bias. If you are a human being, you have an inherent bias towards something. And it is not our job, in the immortal words paraphrasing Nick Wright, it's not our job to eliminate our bias. It's our job to inform you of our bias, right? So, yeah, I'm a Knicks fan. That doesn't mean I can't keep it real about anybody else. The same way how the league is, I was going to say infested, but permeated with Celtics fans, Lakers fans, player fans.
You're talking about media. The league media is infested with that.
Yes, because they should be fans first.
That's harsh.
You should be fans first, right? So at some point, if everybody had to put on the table where their fandom has lied or who their friends are, who are athletes, I got athlete friends too, right? Like, I feel like there comes a point
that's a flex
where I'm not even a flex. They're people first. I don't think about them like that. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying we all have biases. And our job is to be as impartial as we could be. Or if you're showing partiality, one, keep it real, and two, defend your point. But we're not going to operate under a shroud of impartiality as if there aren't any latent biases there.
I think that is very well said. If anything, I feel like I have a bias the other direction because I always think the worst is going to happen. I also have a bias towards the first guest on this show because I got to pull her up here to make sure she hears what I'm saying. She is an absolute gem of a human being, which is a far more important thing and a better thing that I could say about anything she does in front of the camera or in front of Mike. Because I've had the pleasure of getting to know this person over the last couple of years, and I don't know why she continues to humor me. That's her problem, and she should examine. She should ask herself some tough questions. You can see her on ESPN. You can see her on MSG. You could hear her on the airways calling Knicks games, and some absolutely legendary with a capital L calls that she has made over the last few years. Not the least of which occurred during last season's playoffs. Monica McNutt, how are you?
Hi, guys. What's up, Macri? Jeff, Shawn, nice to see y'all. Excited to be here.
What's up,
I'll
Mom?
be honest. My husband is now a part of the Bulls organization, so I'm in Chicago. The time difference has messed me up. I got on too early. Then I was making breakfast, and I just finished making this lovely plate and realized I have to come talk to you guys.
What is in the plate?
It is a baked sweet potato with spinach and red peppers and onions, and then 2 fried eggs on top. It's quite delightful. Very Whole30 approved. Girls trying to get right for the season, okay?
Listen, I'm right next to her on the screen, so protect me. But wow, man, Chicago, wow, that's crazy. Wow, no more Harlem. That's crazy. That's crazy.
No. I'm still very much in Harlem. We're doing the love and basketball thing. I'm here until next week. I'm going back to Harlem.
That's grown right there.
New York. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So then I take back my New York wow. I take back the wow.
Yeah. No. Let me clarify.
I'll type it.
We are thrilled for him and his dreams, and our dreams consist of 2 cities right now.
I love it. And congrats to him. Real talk. That's incredible.
Yeah, big up to him.
Incredible.
That is awesome. And I'm gonna I should say I won't at all be like texting you in the middle of the season being like, hey, can you verify this Bulls trade rumor? That's probably BS. I don't think there's anything wrong with making a pilgrimage to the home of Michael Jordan. I did the thing when I drove cross country in my early 20s and took the picture in front of the Jordan statue. Like, nothing wrong with that. I got a Jordan picture right there on my wall. You can't see it, but a signed Jordan picture.
No, I will never be photographed in Bulls gear, though, in case Knicks fans are wondering. We did get cute little, like, welcome aboard stuff. It is very cute. I'll wear it in the house in Chicago. That's it. That's all I got.
So here's what we're doing today, which I sprung on you yesterday, and you were like, yeah, cool, because you're freaking awesome. We are going to go through the top of the Eastern Conference, which, of course, contains the team that, Monica, you cover with the Knicks, but also a whole bunch of other teams that you talk about on a regular basis and know very well. And we're going to go ahead and I'm going to give you the easier job because we're going to start at the top of the East. We're going to go in order of over-under win totals. And you're going to give your best case scenario. Basically, like, if this season goes great for this team, here are 1 or 2 things that probably happened. And then, again, Coach Shawn's a hater, and Jeff could play the role when he needs to. They're going to give the opposite. And they're going to be like, here's why things maybe will not go so well. And then we're all going to pick over-under on their win total. And then we're going to keep going. Yeah.
No, I'm into this. When you sent this, I was like, cool. Like, if-then statements, I'm into that.
Yeah. I'm a big I learned that in a math class one time, right? Don't they teach you that?
And I was bad at it in the context of math, but here I'm going to excel.
So if you went to high school at a certain time in New York, that would be called the Green Book, as we refer to it, because the red book, I believe the red book was algebra, the blue book was geometry, and the green book was if-then, like
whatever
logic.
we're talking about.
Then there's AP math, which if you went to AP math in high school, you were a glutton for punishment, or if you had Caribbean parents who told you need to be smart and be in AP everything. So
I'll give you one worse than AP math. I took Latin in high school.
I wish I
That
took
seems
it.
challenging.
I
No,
really wish I would have took Latin. That's a SAT cheat code.
No, so here's the thing. It's not. They tell you it is, but it doesn't help you one lick. And I'm proof of that.
They lied to me. They lied to me.
They
I'm
did
glad
lie
I
to
didn't
you.
take it.
But we will not be telling any lies on this show. Okay, so we're going to start at the top with the Cleveland Cavaliers. And I will just say that the Cleveland Cavaliers are the team that I fear the most in the East, although I have a dark horse that I will talk about in a bit. Their over-under is 56.5 wins. And, Mon, I actually think this might be challenging for you to say, like, okay, what's going to happen if this team does really well? Because was not last year kind of their best-case scenario? And I think that's why I want to kind of open this one.
So this one I'm ready for because shout out to Carmelo Anthony, 7 p.m. in Brooklyn. We just talked about this. And
Just a name drop.
That's the point.
That's a
listen, literally because I'm taking the words from Melo because we were literally talking about this. But I think I agree with you. Who said they have a different, bigger concern in the dark horse concern? I think your dark horse concern.
I have another dark horse East team that I'm like keeping my eye on, but I do think the Cavs should be favored to come out. Like,
I agree. I agree, but I think there's another team that I'm more concerned of as the nemesis to the Knicks in particular. Anyway, let's lock it. Cleveland. If Evan Mobley takes another leap,
that's what I knew you were going on.
Right, and is in MVP conversation in terms of his ability to knock down a three, defend multiple positions, still a terrific rebounder, can stay healthy. As we've watched it, he seems to be the centerpiece or the key piece to whatever Cleveland's going to accomplish.
I completely agree with, yeah.
I also think, though, because when you threw this out to me, Macri, I was like, let me look at some of these rosters. Low key, if DeAndre Hunter is all defensive team, is back to sort of that caliber, right?
Like
I think that, to me, is an if-then formula. Because Donovan's going to be Donovan. I love Darius Garland. Depending on what you hear, who you listen to, we'll see if he remains on that roster the entire year. I'm a big fan of Darius Garland. But I think Donovan's going to be who he is. Evan's the centerpiece to me. Jared Allen's going to be who he is. But if DeAndre Hunter could come off that bench and really be your stopper, right? I trust Kenny Atkinson enough that all his shooters play their roles. I mean, yeah, you missed Ty Jerome, but like you still got Merrill. You've got that grit of Max Strus, who to me, and I remember JJ Redick talking about this when he was still a colleague. He's like, your leader oftentimes is not the guy that you think of when you think of the name and the marquee on a team. A guy like Max Strus, who has tremendous respect in terms of how he's gotten to the league, what he's accomplished in the league, has the grit of teams that have been in finals, right? Like could easily be your unsung hero in the leadership category. But I think if those two things in particular are happening in terms of the basketball of it all, I think then they are in position to realize the promise. Now, that obviously has to happen through the postseason.
And that's a good transition. Jeff, you want to take this one? What's your dad side here?
What's your hate level, Shawn, for this one? Is it
if you want to take it, Shawn,
low, medium, high?
Oh, low.
Low,
I do have
I don't have
a low case scenario. Okay.
Yeah.
Go
ahead.
My worst case scenario for them is just that they're bored this year because all right. So the Cavs have the third most wins in NBA the last 2 seasons. They have the third most wins in NBA the last 3 seasons. Number 2 team is the 2025 champion Oklahoma City Thunder, and number 1 team, the 2024 NBA champions Boston Celtics. So I'll say bored. I mean, last year, 15-0 start, balls to the wall, kicking everyone's ass, and then around January, they just started because it's hard to get up every single night. It's like you're not chasing 70 wins, and and maybe the blooms off the rose with when I say the blooms off the rose with Kenny Atkinson, Kenny Atkinson comes in, injects a new way of going about things, and it's like, oh, it's refreshing, whatever. It's just, do they want to go out and try to win 64 to 66 games again? But that's the only thing that I could that's the only thing I could really say against them, because listen, if Evan Mobley gets the K in front of his names, if he goes from Evan Garnett to Kevin Garnett, which we've been told he's going to be since the day he was drafted, then we are talking sky's limit. But again, it's for 3 seasons in a row, being top 3 in wins. After a while, you might just be like,
Can I
Yeah.
add Macri? I saw Evan Mobley pull up and hit a 3, and I immediately went to DEFCON 2. DEFCON 1 being the highest. I went to DEFCON 2. And Shawn can attest to this. I've been saying this since last season. If this man starts pulling up from 3 like he's Kevin Garnett, or Kevin Durant, we have a problem. The league, not the East, the league has a problem. But for me, it's the one thing that plagues every team is injuries. That's the one major concern. Yeah. It feels like no matter what the Cavs do, they get to the postseason and somebody's hurt. Garland with the toe. I don't know. Iman, you could correct me if I got this twisted. I don't know that Garland, since he's been a Cav, has gotten to the postseason at least at 90%, where it hasn't been a toe or an ankle. Donovan Mitchell gets hurt at the worst possible moments, but he powers through. So I'll consider that a wash. They had a bunch of other injuries this season. They were just snake bitten. But I just wonder, do they, and this is my case for the under, not so much the boredom, do they try to say, hey, we are going to preserve as much as possible until we get to the postseason and then figure it out? Because we should have, just like the Knicks, we're projected as a top 2 team in the East. There really isn't any opposition that we can see right now. Do we take our foot off the gas the whole season and figure it out when we get to April, May, and June?
And Man, that's what I want to ask you. How fine is the line between we're singularly focused on the finish line and that's what we care about versus we're not going to be in the right mindset because we're looking to not skip steps, but like we've been there, done that. I imagine that's a kind of a dicey tightrope to walk.
So here's my hoops purist thought on that. You don't play with the game. You just don't, right? Now, I get that we are at the NBA level of you tinker with it, you play analytics, you get it. But to Shawn's point, how dare you be bored and the promise wasn't realized? For me, right?
Yeah, no, that's good.
This is only the second year of Kenny Atkinson, who has been a part of the Lakers, the Warriors winning dynasty. Was honestly, y'all, we go back to Brooklyn, sort of was on the verge of look at the way he's coached up these guys and what's happening in Brooklyn. And then, you know what I'm saying? We all know what happened there. So it's not as if Kenny Atkinson himself doesn't have things to prove. Donovan has got to be one of the coolest guys in the league, one of the best interviews in the league, very thoughtful, heard all the noise, fully aware of all of the noise, right? To me, Evan Mobley has been this project in Cleveland. I can remember talking with his family, his first summer league draft. I think we forget, and part of it might be the Wemby of it all, but these sort of projects do take time. And I think you have to allow an athlete, a pro athlete, to grow as an NBA player and as a man. Because frankly, the year that the Knicks took Cleveland out, it was all sort of murmurings about what they had going on personally, right? That have been distractions for a number of those guys. And some of the stuff they were dealing with was really real, right? But I think when we talk about winning and the opportunity, so many things have to align. And sometimes that alignment comes with big time heartbreak as a collective. Because there's no way they shouldn't have been one of the last teams standing last year, right? So to me, when I go down this roster, you throw in Alonzo Ball, another guy with a ton to prove, a guy that we were really high on when he was healthy. I don't know what percentage of him is going to be back in a Cleveland uniform, but I'm going down this roster in terms of guys that have sort of NBA prototype body and or experience. I don't expect them to win 60 games necessarily, but I don't expect them to mail it in either.
So, by the way, it's a good thing we're not doing West over-unders because we need to scrap the whole episode. Russell Westbrook just signed with the Sacramento Kings. You happy about that, man?
I'm glad he's back on a roster.
You know what? He should be able to go out on his own terms in an NBA uniform. Is that?
I agree.
That's fair to say, right?
Yeah, and we have to prevent the nerds from keeping our legends out of the game.
Thank you. I like it. All right. So we spent a lot of time in Cleveland. Monica, it sounds like you would go over if you had to make a pick.
What was the number?
56.5.
Yeah, I'm gonna go over.
I'm gonna take a slight under. Jeff?
I'll go under. The only reason saying for me is the hook always gets me. More often than not, the hook, and that's the 0.5 for those of you who don't bet. You bet 56.5 over, and then they get exactly 56, and you're sick. So for me, I'll go to 56. I think they'll be around 56, 57. That's too close for my blood.
I like it.
So I'll go under.
You're muted, Shawn. Our first you're muted of the day.
There you go. I will take a slight under as well. I could see the team winning 55 games.
Yeah.
They could get 56, but I think 55 is fine. And 61 doesn't grow on trees. So
no.
Yeah, slight under.
Okay. Next up, the Knicks, 53.5 wins. We've obviously all talked about the Knicks a lot. We'll talk about the Knicks a lot more over the next weekend as the season goes on. Give me one, because you could name 10 things off the top of your head. Give me one thing that maybe people would not be expecting as a thing that could go really right for this Knicks team, or at least maybe someone who watched the team last year and is not as well versed in all of the things that we have talked about in the preseason and everything like that maybe they wouldn't be expecting.
Oh man, Knicks fans are so locked in. I don't know. Okay. I don't know the expectation level of this one, but my hope is, no, God, don't laugh at me.
I will not laugh.
Huck emerges as
point.
a legitimate backup center that can come in if Mitch is in foul trouble, that can help you in the pick and roll in terms of defending, that take some of the pressure off that 4 and 5, and the Knicks' second unit becomes a monster.
I would just recorded a Knicks Film School episode with your colleague Alan Hahn like an hour and a half ago, and he unprompted brought up the name Ariel Hukporti.
I'm so obsessed. Let me just. Okay, so
please.
Two things when it comes to Huck. One, I think if you dig back into sort of his draft research, if not for the injuries, he's not available for the Knicks, right? Two, just kind of having a chance to kick it with him last year, get to know him. Great young man because he's younger than me, but he's not like 18, like your typical second-year rookie, 18, 19, right? But the second thing, this year during Content Day, and I didn't realize this, but I think this kind of stuff matters in the formative years of both professional men and women players' careers. When he got hurt, I don't know if people realize, but he was in the gym the same time as Jalen was navigating his ankle stuff. And so there is this, for me, transitive property, if you will, of Jalen and his journey. Dutiful worker, meticulous, all the things. And this guy in his rookie season having a chance to rub elbows and spend time with him up close and personal.
I love that.
Right?
Yeah.
And I think y'all remember we had the flash moments of Huck last year, couldn't quite find a consistent rhythm.
Yeah.
Frankly, y'all, if Mike Brown's hopes and dreams and vision come to pass, you can't play fast and only play 8. Like, I mean, kind of, maybe later in the season, but you're getting into that bench if y'all playing fast, right? Yeah. And I think, to me, yes, the game has to slow down a little bit for him. I think he's got the footwork there that can be a potential solve in terms of some of that pick and roll. I think he's great on the glass. He's got natural instincts. I'm curious to see where his hands are.
Yeah. I like the instincts, though. I think you nailed it with it. He has the instincts, which I love. Also, find me another person who covers a team that comes on to talk about that team and names the 12th man as the person that they are like looking at. And you're not wrong at all, because I love the take. All right, who am I gonna throw under the bus here? Jeff, sorry. Give me one.
I felt it. I know it's coming to me. I knew it was coming to me. All right. Because I don't believe in that type of stuff, I will say that the only thing, the one thing that I could see that would definitely derail would be injury.
Sure.
Which is the same boat that all the contenders are in. Main guy goes out, secondary guy goes out, then you're in the wilderness searching for an oasis. I think, and we've been having this conversation on After School and in a bunch of Knicks circles and just in league circles in general, this idea of whether or not the change in coaching philosophy is going to lead to punting more games, for lack of a better term, because Tibbs's philosophy was every game is game 7. Yeah. Every game matters. We're winning this game no matter what. We're going to play this game like it is the playoffs. and Mike Brown is not that. So why were they winning so many games? The prevailing thought is, oh, because they attacked every game like they needed it. That's why they won. I also saw them in dogfights against the Charlotte Hornets and against the Washington Wizards too, where they needed every game. And focusing all your resources on that one game led to a cascade of losses down the line. Yeah. I think if they truly get into a rhythm where they know their team, they lock in their identity, and they're not as concerned with playing all the starters 35 minutes against a bottom of the league teams, and you're giving actual running experience to your bench, some of those games may be lost. I don't think it would be a major under for this win total. Yeah. Maybe it's 50 instead of 53. Maybe I don't think they go into the 40s, but maybe it's a slight under. That's more of the scenario that I see other than what plagues everybody.
Yeah. It's like Mon said, though, you don't play with the game.
1,000%. Not so much. And I don't mean it like a punt, because I don't know how you feel, Mon. I hate the regular season doesn't count narrative. I hate that, because as somebody who has been a performer, I know the way you practice is the way you play. The way you play in the regular season is the way you're going to perform in the postseason. There's been a handful, literally one handful of teams that had the on switch for the playoffs, and they had the luxury because they had won it before. So they knew it already. Yeah. They knew what it took, and they paced themselves. But when you cheat the game, or when you disregard the game, especially from fans of the game, why you watch basketball if you think the regular season doesn't matter?
Wow.
Like, come on, man. Anyway.
Might be a question for the commissioner.
I agree with you on that.
Sorry. I'm not going to ask Mon to do an over-under pick. Unless you want to, Mon. I'm not going to put you on the spot.
I think historically, the last two full seasons, Mike didn't get to 50 in Sacramento. The one thing I'm if I'm honest, y'all, I'm leaning slightly over, only because of Jalen. Oh, okay. I am leaning slightly over. I think, I shouldn't say only because of Jalen, but I think spending time around these guys, same thing we said to Cleveland, right? Like, they know the job's not finished. And I think when you look at what they did in terms of the additions to their bench, those are vets, right? I think it will look different, because you're right. We totally remember dogfights with teams that you should have been in no business in games with them. But as much as Tibbs takes a lot of the brunt of that, the guys weren't like, yo, take me out either. Yeah. And so I think what is going to be revealed under Mike is like competitive juice of players, or was it truly, the leadership, right? Some nights you're going to mail it in, for sure. But I think, too, again, like, if you're going to be deeper, if you're going to be sharpening your weapons all the way through, no. Do I think they're going to win 60? No. Could I see, like, is it 53 even?
53 and a half.
And
the half
like,
matters to me. That's
so
why I'm
I was about to say, now I'm listening to Jeff on the hook, right? Like,
yeah.
I don't know. Maybe right now I'm looking at everything with rose-colored glasses. You talk about what I hate, if I'm honest. I hate preseason, because everybody's like, yay, champions!
Listen, that's what preseason's for. All right. I already made my pick on the record, a slight under. Jeff, what are you doing?
I said 55
before
the season, so I'm a lock in, because I think the inverse is going to happen. I think you're going to see this bench go crazy on a lot of those lower teams and pull out a couple of games, a la what OKC would do when you see Case and Wallace putting up career numbers against teams, and you're like, what is this team? What are we going to do?
Shawn?
I'll take the over as well. This team won 51 games last year, and their best player missed a month.
It's just me of little faith, I guess. Okay. All right. We're going to keep going. Next up is the Orlando Magic over under 51 and a half. I should have said, we're going to stop after we run out of teams that we think that, Monica, in your opinion, have a realistic chance to at least make the conference finals. So I'm just going to first ask you, do you think the Magic, there is a world where they can make the conference finals in the East?
So literally, I'm bummed, because I thought we would have gone Detroit before we went Orlando.
We're going in order of over-unders. And the fine folks at Las Vegas have deemed the Orlando Magic the third most likely team, or the third highest win total, I guess I should say, in the East, 51 and a half.
Boy.
So, again, because you teed me up for this, you go to the roster, right? Last year, I did not think that Orlando's offense was particularly imaginative or that hard to defend. And we saw that in the matchup
not a
versus
hot
the
take.
Knicks. Right?
I tried.
We saw that versus the Knicks. Now, those guys getting healthy, I don't know. The Wagner brothers are really talented. I know Corey Alexander, who's been coaching Paolo Banchero for years, coming through the AAU circuit. He and I had a long convo about Paolo last year. And he was concerned as a guy that really knows him about some of the habits he was or was not developing. Because he knows what his best basketball is, right?
Yeah. I was about to say, doesn't the super positive Magic take, it has to start with Paolo, right?
I would think so, right?
Yeah.
But I think too, like just like we talked about Evan to start this conversation, you got to give guys an opportunity to figure out what their best pro version is.
Yeah.
And even though Paolo was putting up monster numbers down the stretch last year, we just talked about an offense that wasn't particularly impressive. That links together, right? Like,
yeah.
You know what I mean? I think I take the under on this for them. But I think Jamal Mosley's done a great job. I think they can be problematic just based off of their physicality. But I think I'm taking the under on this unless Mo is back or Franz rather, is back and is like all-star level.
I think that's very fair. Shawn, give me, because I think you could go a couple of different directions with this team. What do you think is the one that you have circled the most?
Which one I have circled the most in terms of
like things that could go wrong for the Magic? Because I think there's one above everybody else, but I think there's a few that you could go to here.
Clear out for sure. Clear out for sure. Right. So I mean, this is what I was waiting for.
So, John, you earlier said I'm a hater, which I am, and I think I've been accused of hating on this franchise more than any other the past few years.
Really?
Yes. So,
that's
Jonathan,
lofty praise.
Jonathan, do you remember you and I having a conversation at T-Squared Social, and after the summer of 2024,
yeah,
and we were talking about the next season, and you were so high on, you were like, "Oh, what?
Hold on, I was high on Indy. I remember that conversation.
Yeah,
I was high on Indiana, who went to the freaking finals. Why are you throwing me under the bus?
And no, they went to the conference finals. No, I'm talking about but we spoke about Orlando, and I was throwing Cold War all over Orlando.
You were,
and you were like, "Why?" And I'm like, they can't score, and Paolo Banchero is Julius Randle's better PR. So I do not understand why. And listen, the last two seasons, they're 28th in offensive efficiency.
They haven't been out of the bottom 10 in a decade and a half or so. It's some crazy length of time.
I think Jamal Mosley is Tibbs with Mickey Mouse ears. In terms of like, it doesn't matter who's on, like, the approach to the game. Like, everyone just like, oh, they got Desmond Bain, sign him up, and listen, you see a young player come in the league and score 20, and everyone thinks, okay, he's going to be the next Kobe or the next Kevin Garnett or the next, Kevin Durant or whatever. And like I said, and when I say Paolo Banchero is Julius a better PR, that's not a diss to Paolo because Julius Randle's a good player. It's just that they're both power forwards who are slightly inefficient, who leave something to be desired on the defensive end. And it's just like, how necessarily far are you going to go? Like people penciling them into the conference finals, I think is just a bit. Too far.
That's silly. I mean, look, it sounds like we're all taking the under on Orlando. It's always the question of whose hands or the ball is the ball going to be in, because I love Desmond Bain. I like Paolo probably a lot more than you, but if you don't have a trusted playmaker, especially in the last 5 minutes, close games. And here's the thing, if you're going to be in a lot of defensive struggles, which it seems like the Magic are going to be in, you're going to you need that. Those last 5 minutes matter a lot. Speaking of teams that have someone that they know they can put the ball in the last 5 minutes, Mon, this is the team that I really want to get your take on. Is the team I was alluding to earlier, because they're next up. And I hate that myself for saying this, but I would not be surprised in the slightest if somehow, some way the Atlanta Hawks made it to the conference finals. They've been over under 46.5. Well, let me ask you first. Is this the team that you are fearing as well?
I'm a little bit more concerned about Detroit, but
then we should talk about Detroit before we get chatty here. But give me your take on the Hawks.
Here come the Hawks with a prototype roster.
That's exactly it, right?
everything you want except maybe your starting point guard in terms of size, and a coach that is like well respected, crazy enough to try some different shit. Like, here we go. And I think we've seen the last 3 seasons that the Hawks tend to have a formula that poses some issues for the Knicks with their size, their length, and their speed. Now, we all witnessed Kristaps Porzingis is the X factor for the Boston Celtics. He ain't even play, and they won it all. And so now, if I may steal your point, Jeff, if he's healthy, what does that look like? But beyond Kristaps, I'm a huge Jalen Johnson fan. Like, I think that kid is so good. The kid, the Great Barrier Thief, whose name I'm blanking
Dyson
on.
Daniels, of course.
Dyson Daniels. You're telling me that I can go, and this is a little bit of a rosy colored glasses. We got to get into the season to see if this is absolutely true. But you're telling me I can go 4 around Trey. I can go my first 3 off the bench, and like I'm not completely scratching my head and trying to figure out what to do defensively. And if Trey is a little bit efficient, right? If he's a little bit like, this man has a $6 million multi-year contract, I need to figure out how to work it out with this coach and not be an asshole. Like, if he's a little bit focused and not shooting you out of basketball games and willing to average close to 10 assists because we're going to play with speed. I mean, like, to me, this is terrifying. I understand why this is your team, Macri.
I'm so happy you talked about Jalen Johnson. You just brought up Paolo, Shawn. What if Jalen Johnson's like that? What if he's that guy? That sort of offensive player. I know the 3-ball isn't quite there yet. Maybe it comes, maybe it doesn't. But like, he was 18 and 5 assists last year, and he's like, the dude obviously has size, 10 rebounds a game, like 6'9", absolutely terrifying. Like that we could be legitimately having conversations in the middle of this year, like who's the Hawks' best player. If we are having those conversations, and I have a feeling we might, which is why I'm banging the over on this one, I think someone in the East is going to be in for a tough playoff series or two. Jeff, I mean, other than injuries, right? It's the obvious one. What's your? Because I have one for Atlanta. I'm curious what yours is for a downside.
Trae Young. He's number 1 on my all prove it list.
Yeah.
And not to prove that he's all-star caliber, all NBA caliber. We know that already. Like that's a fact. But at some point, if the room smells like shit and it continuously smells like shit when you're in it, you dealt it.
Oh my God.
If you denied it, you supplied it.
We lost Monica.
That's what it is, bro. I'm just telling you, that's what it is. Everything Monica said is the reason why if they don't make it to the conference finals, I gotta look at him. And I feel like he's an accountable guy that would say, yeah, to me too. You got what's my man that went to New Orleans?
Alexander Walker.
No,
DeJounte Murray.
Oh, DeJounte Murray.
DeJounte Murray. You've had people that conference finals run that feels like it was last decade. And if Ben Simmons could hit a layup, we wouldn't even be talking in those regards, right? But it is what it is. You play who's in front of you and you capitalize on the opportunity. This is the opportunity for the Hawks to capitalize on a weak East. They should be the dark horse. They should at the very least be the 3 seed with their depth. That depth, you talk about Orlando versus them. At this point, I expect to see my name on Orlando's depth chart because I'm like, who do they got coming out after their top 5, top 6? Like, real talk. So I expect the Hawks to go over, but if they go under, I think you're going to see it's because eventually Dyson Daniels, if his offense doesn't match his defensive prowess, and if it was equal, he'd be top 10. But I'm just saying something to be like a reliable scorer. Teams are going to attack Trey. I think the sophisticated offenses, if people finally have your player post him up or run him around to tire him out so that he can't kill you on the offensive end and his mentals can be a little off due to fatigue. If the league figures that out.
You talking about Trey or Dyson?
Trey. In terms of like, I feel like on along with Kristaps is a super X factor. He's like an X squared factor to me at this point, but not on defense. Defense is going to be him. And like Last year, I don't know. You watched the games. You was there, Monica. You called the games. I was screaming for Mikal Bridges to please go at this dude every time they were down the court, and it felt like my man was hearing the like Mike music in his ear and fading away every single time instead of attacking him and trying to get him into foul trouble. Because once Trey gets in the groove, it's a wrap. It is a wrap. Once the hate force starts building up in his veins, it's a wrap. Yeah. So you got to try to mitigate that as best possible.
Mom, what do you think? You're yes or no on this team?
What's the number?
The number is, I think it's low. It's 46.5.
They gotta go over.
For me, I think I agree with you that I think that number is low, but I will say same sort of thing that we talked about with Orlando applies. Like what is gonna be like the crux of this offense? Yeah. You know what I mean? Like Trey at the pick and roll, the half court with Onyeka Okongwu or Porzingis, like, okay, yes. In and of itself, it is a problem. But if you run into the right personnel, like, is that imaginative enough to get you through?
I think you're being polite at some point, and to go to Jeff's point, you got to prove that you're that guy. And I guess this is me being a hater. I don't think Trae Young's proved that he's that guy yet. Maybe this is the season he proves it, and we'll see. And because I think that answers the question that you just asked, Mon, which is like, what can the offense be greater than the sum of its parts, or is it just Trae Young in the pick and roll, and that's all we're doing here? You got to get out of here soon. We got to get out of here soon. Before we go, two quick things. One, Detroit, real quick. We lost Jeff. Give me your Detroit, like 30 seconds. Why you're most fearful of the Detroit Pistons?
Because Cade Cunningham's game is very similar to Jalen Brunson, but he's got 4 more inches.
Ooh, that's pretty. That's. Pull-up shooting is not a concern for you.
Not at his size.
Okay. All right.
I think we watched it, y'all. And again, I think Jalen will be, if all goes well, in addition to my Huck take, Jalen is again MVP conversation, has a real shot to win it, right? But every time we match up with Detroit, you don't speed up Cade. If he's inefficient as a shooter, he probably has 12 assists. If he's giving you both, you probably lost for sure. Yeah. And I think that's a group, the same way we talked about Cleveland, like when you look at the progression of a team, even if we want to go to OKC, right? Yeah. Outside of Boston, who was like in conference finals and in finals a gazillion years. Mm-hmm. But if you look at a progression of a team, like they're on track, piece by piece on both sides of the ball. There's a toughness. Y'all think about it. Like, and I keep saying this. I still think the Knicks get out of the series, but Isaiah Stewart wasn't even healthy last year. And that's not like an all-star kind of guy, but you talk about a team that understands who they are and what they do well. I think Cade is just starting to scratch the surface.
Every minute of that series petrified me. If you would have seen me watching those games, you would have thought so much less of me. I was cowering. No, it was not pretty. It really was bad. I'm very ashamed of myself. Before we get to the last thing, Mon, is there any team that we have vehemently and viciously disrespected by not including them in this? They might get to the conference finals conversation.
I don't think so. Because, so
you don't believe in health miracles? Shout out to Philly. Or Boston, I guess, for that matter.
Now, I will say, I don't think Boston's going to be as bad as people think.
Okay. I'm with you on that.
I think Derek White, I think Derek White's right there. I think Jaylen Brown relishes this opportunity. You know, Joe Mazzulla is crazy in the head. You saw they beat the media team 57-40.
Hold on. Save that thought. You know what? Screw it. You led us there. That's enough actual basketball talk. I need you to take a look here.
Oh,
so this is I have a tweet here from New York Basketball touting the college accolades and stats of one Monica McNutt. A legend in her own right on the court at Georgetown. Before I let you go, the final score of the Boston media versus Boston coaches, 57-4. Now, I asked Alan Hahn about this before when I was on. I'm going to ask you. Please tell me, Monica, please tell me that you and your assembled Knicks media would put up a better fight than 57-4.
And I think, what did they play for 12 minutes?
That was in 12 minutes?
It was like 12
I
minutes.
don't know what the time
No, it was 12
Was
minutes.
Scalabrini not available for that game? Because I think he would have scored.
I literally was like, well, Wally doesn't play anymore because of his hip. Han's at least tall. Like,
you're the best.
who I got
No,
to
man,
work
you're the
with?
best player on the court.
Here's what I will say, y'all, and this is be a moment of vulnerability. I legit went to the gym on Friday. Went to the PA gym, like worked with NBA ball because obviously I shot with women's ball. Like really was like, I'm just gonna hit a couple buckets in this celebrity game. Like really got back in the gym. Love the workout. Like if I could add basketball as one of my routine workouts, I would do it. The NBA ball is so sensitive. Like you twist your finger on a follow through, that thing is not working with you. It's so sensitive. I hated it. First of all. Second of all, the garden court is huge. I was exhausted, like huge. So, Knicks media versus the team, versus the coaches. I think we could get to 10, but I don't know that the outcome would be much better.
You could get to 10, just you.
No, Macri. This is what I'm saying to you. Having gone to the gym to like with my trainer, I
don't believe this. This is false modesty. I don't believe a word of what you're saying.
No. This literally 15 years ago, I was in amazing shape. Now you hit me one time and I got to go up and down the court 3 times. And now you want me to catch the ball, focus, and make a shot? It's very hard.
Who on the coaching staff is giving you guys real issues? I mean, Mo Cheeks is a Hall of Famer, but he's 60.
You mean, okay, so you mean front of the bench or you mean the whole staff that now has 85 people?
Othello's going to be trying to bully folks.
Brian is like right at the rim. Joe, some of the development guys are in the gym with the guys. Like the development guys about to kill us. What are you talking about?
Rick Brunson is gonna go crazy out of nowhere trying to get MVP.
The way in the celebrity game, y'all, Novi pulled up and it is still cash water, like splash, like no chance. Nah, when you've done it on the NBA level, and then like I don't play basketball regularly anymore, like no. So no, I'm flattered. Thank you guys for believing me, but I also deal in reality.
We could have used you in July. I'm gonna tell you right now.
You
could have came out here because listen, I'm probably older than you, and I ain't played in a while. And Jeff and we got after it. So like for one time, we ramped up one good time. So you keep your phone line, your email open. And
I was about to say mine. I'm not saying you have to play in the next Twitter day.
I'm saying that you.
But I swear, if you come to that and roll up and play for any other team besides Knicks Film School, I will take it as a personal offense against me. I'm just saying that right now.
So hold up.
First off, that I probably would have been able to get active in. But I think, again, like as much as we love covering sports and what we do, there is a level of respect that we all should have even for the formers.
So I said straight up, Wally doesn't really need to run. If he can't run no more, then okay, he's out. I was like, you have him out in the perimeter. I feel like he could still hit shots. I know Han is decent enough where we're not going 57-4. You dip into the independent media. Got some. Hey, shout out to CP. He when the direct deposit hits, he finds people that are a part of the media and they get on the squad. So if I see Monica on Knicks Fan TV, I already know the Venmo was crazy. That's all I'm gonna say. But yeah, I have faith that enough. Yo, low key, I think Begley got a jumper.
Listen to what I'm saying to you. Quietly. You are talking about one side of the ball, Jeff. That's what I'm saying to you. Okay?
This is the point. This is the path to victory. You got to outscore them.
It's not, because we're going to have to stop the coaches. Like, that's the problem.
It's not the path to victory. It's the path to 10.
Yeah, that's all. That's all.
We got to be better than Boston.
If you guys could get Berman back just for that game, then I think you stand a chance. If you can't get Mark Berman from Florida, then I don't know. Monica McNutt, a living legend, truly. And I know, but really, the fact that we get you and you're all over the freaking place, and yet you're still ours. Sorry, you belong to Knicks fans. You know,
as we sign off, though, Macri, Shawn, Jeff, I will say this till I retire from media. New York has shown me such tremendous love, and I never take that for granted. You guys obviously have been a part of it. Macri, I think you were one of my first connections when I got to the city covering the Knicks consistently. I do not take that for granted. No matter what is happening nationally, Knicks hold me down, and I so appreciate that. So it is mutual.
Even though you root for the Commanders, I got mad love for you. You already
Hey
know
man,
that.
I mean, I'm from where I'm from. I'm not gonna apologize.
And I
for
love that. And
No,
that's
nothing
why
wrong with that.
I love it. That's why I love it.
One of us.
You ain't,
One
you ain't
of
like
us.
Stop it.
One
people who live
of
in
us.
Brooklyn and root for the Lakers.
Oh,
None
enough
of
of
that.
that nonsense. All right, Vaughn, I'm gonna get you out of here. I'll talk to you soon. Thank you. You're the best. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Have fun.
Thank
Peace
you.
out.
Good seeing you.
All right. We did it. We did a show. And
We did a show.
we came
I
out. We're
think
coming
that
out the
is
other
the
side.
show.
Damn.
We did a
Okay. Final thoughts before. Oh, I forgot. I wrote down a question for us to leave on.
Yes, sir.
What we're all gonna do this. What's one thing that's gonna get us in hot water before the end of the year on these airwaves? As Shawn laughs.
Shit. Where do I begin?
You have to pick one. You can only pick one.
Okay. All right. So I'm gonna. You know what? I'm gonna look at the standings and which team I'm gonna hate on for the most of the year, and I'll get back to you. So I'll throw it to Jeff. Give me like 30 seconds.
The answer is yes. That's the answer, because the fact that we are from New York and root for the Knicks is like a double negative against us, and not the type that turns into a positive. It's like a negative and then another negative separately in the column, because people are going to come at us. But I feel like once somebody's analytical darling starts stinking up the joint and we tell people, hey, think you got to take the garbage out, I think something stinks, you got to wash some clothes or something in here, that's when I think it's going to get booty butt ugly. But who cares?
I like. So I have a unique answer to this before we go to Shawn, because I'm sure his is going to be the best. I think my answer is actually going to is going to maybe upset multiple fan bases, because I am seeing things from Bucks fans, Bucks Nation, Bucks wherever they go to stick their hand in the sand. Do they have sand in Milwaukee? I don't think they have sand in Milwaukee. They probably.
Yeah, well, I think it's on Lake Michigan.
One of them
might
lakes.
have a beach.
Maybe like a gravel depository or something. I'm seeing some things that are going to elicit some reactions for me over the course of this year. And I say that might piss off two fan bases, because I know a lot of Knicks fans don't want to hear about the Giannis thing. But man, sometimes you gotta see what is there to be seen. And I'm looking forward to pointing out all of those sorts of things as we move along. Shawn, to you.
Honestly, it's gonna be telling the truth. That's gonna get us in trouble, because a lot of people cannot handle the truth. We at NBA Takedown will never let emotions get in the way of business. For example, on June 28th, 2025, I placed a bet for the Atlanta Hawks to win the Eastern Conference at 29-1.
How'd you get that at 29-1?
Because it was June, and I was like, and again, same way how the Sixers bet I placed, because like, this price is crazy. I said,
not to for everybody who doesn't know, not to make the playoffs at
10-1 plus 950.
There you go. Okay.
And I said 29-1 for this team to win the Eastern Conference is bat, you know what, crazy. So listen, and if they don't make it, whatever, some money down the drain, and they got vanquished. But we don't let emotions get in the way of our business here. So I actually think that, like, us telling the truth, especially when it comes to, for me, I know I'm gonna get flamed for my Paolo takes, and I know I'm gonna get flamed by Knicks fans by telling the truth about this team, specifically about a certain player who is the teacher's pet of the fan base. I'm not gonna say any names. So that's gonna get me in trouble. I don't care. Those are my thoughts. I still sleep at night.
I look forward to all of it, and I look forward to the journey that we have now officially begun. Shawn, Jeff, thanks to Monica, thanks to everybody. Again, we're nascent, so just starting to build here from the ground up. Looking forward to getting the YouTube thing active as we go along the season. Thanks to everybody who has already followed and whatever you do to get your podcasts. I could not believe, I referenced this the other day, to wake up and I got an email from some podcast company that your podcast is in like the top, it was like 57th or something, an NBA podcast. And I'm like, that's interesting. We haven't posted an episode yet. So thank you for all of the support that we've received thus far. This is going to be fun, everybody. We are just getting started. We'll see you all on Friday. Peace out.